You're nothing but a broke parasite, and I want everyone here to watch you crawl out of my life." Ethan Caldwell's words exploded through the Plaza Ballroom microphone as he shoved divorce papers into his wife's trembling hands. Olivia stumbled on the top stair, her dress catching under her heel. 300 elite guests froze champagne glasses, suspended midair. 3 years, Ethan snarled, climbing toward her, his face flushed with rage and scotch. 3 years I fed you, clothed you, carried your worthless existence. He grabbed her wrist, twisting it until she gasped. "Sign these papers right now, then leave through the service exit with the rest of the trash." His mistress giggled from below. The room erupted in shocked whispers. Before we continue with this story of betrayal and ultimate justice, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Stay with me until the very end, because what happens next will leave you speechless. And comment below with your city name so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's dive in. The anniversary gala had been Ethan's idea. Celebrate 3 years of marriage, he'd said. Show the investors we're stable, he'd said. Olivia had spent weeks planning every detail, choosing flowers that matched his company colors, selecting a menu that would impress his business partners. She'd worn the dress he'd picked out, styled her hair the way he preferred, smiled until her cheeks ached. She'd done everything right. And now this. "Ethan, please," Olivia whispered. But her voice didn't carry. The microphone was his. The room was his. Everything had always been his. "Please what?" Ethan mocked, his eyes glittering with something cruel and foreign. Beside him, a woman in a silver dress that cost more than most people's rent, giggled. Miranda Chen, his executive assistant, the woman who'd been working late with him for the past 6 months, the woman whose perfume Olivia had been smelling on his shirts. "Please don't tell them the truth. Please don't let everyone know that you came from nothing, that your family is so poor they didn't even show up tonight." That last part twisted in Olivia's gut. Her family hadn't come, but not because they couldn't afford the plane ticket. "I brought divorce papers," Ethan announced, pulling a manila folder from inside his jacket, like a magician revealing his final trick. "I want everyone here to witness this. I want you all to see that I, Ethan Caldwell, founder and CEO of Caldwell Technologies, will not be dragged down by dead weight anymore." "Ethan, stop!" Olivia managed, gripping the banister. Her knuckles turned white. The room spun. "We can talk about this in private." "Private?" Ethan laughed again, harder this time. "Why embarrassed you should be. Look at you. Look at this room. These people are titans of industry, billionaires, power players. And you're a secretary's daughter from nowhere, Ohio, who got lucky when I felt sorry for you." The words hit like physical blows. Olivia had met Ethan 4 years ago at a coffee shop near Columbia University. She'd been reading a book on international finance. He'd been charmed by her intelligence, her quiet confidence, her ability to discuss market trends and economic theory. Or so he'd said. Later, she'd learned he'd been charmed by her appearance and impressed by her willingness to make him feel like the smartest man in the room. For 3 years, she'd played the part, the supportive wife, the quiet presence at dinners where men talked over her. The woman who smiled and nodded and never corrected anyone even when they were wrong about things she'd studied for years. She'd hidden everything, her degrees, her family, her real name, because she'd wanted to be loved for who she was, not what she had. Stupid, so incredibly stupid. "Sign them," Ethan demanded, climbing 3 steps toward her. He shoved the papers into her hands. "Sign them right now in front of everyone. I want this done. I want you gone." Olivia looked down at the documents. Her hands trembled. The words blurred. Irreconcilable differences. Division of assets. What assets? Everything was in his name. 3 years of her life reduced to 4 pages of legal jargon. "The pen," Miranda called out helpfully, tossing a gold Mont Blanc pen up the stairs. It clattered at Olivia's feet. "Don't forget the pen." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Not everyone. Some people looked uncomfortable. An older woman in pearls frowned. A man near the bar shook his head. But most of them watched with the same fascination they'd bring to a car crash. "I gave you everything," Ethan said, his voice dropping to something almost gentle. "Almost. And you gave me nothing, not even a child. 3 years, Olivia, not even that." The cruelty of it nearly buckled her knees. They'd tried. God, they'd tried. But after the second miscarriage, Ethan had stopped coming to bed. Started working later, started looking at her like she was broken. "Sign the papers and leave through the service entrance," Ethan instructed. "I don't want you walking through my guests. You've embarrassed me enough." The service entrance, where the caterers and janitors went, where the garbage was taken out. Olivia picked up the pen, her fingers closed around it, and something inside her, something that had been cracking for months, maybe years, finally shattered. "Okay," she said quietly. "What?" Ethan frowned. "I said okay." Olivia's voice grew stronger. "I'll sign them." Ethan's face split into a triumphant grin. He turned to the crowd, arms spread wide. "See? She knows when she's beat. She knows she has nothing without me." Olivia clicked the pen. She signed the first page, then the second, then the third. Her hand was steady now. "There," she said, handing the papers back to him. "We're done." "Finally," Ethan muttered, not even looking at her. He was already turning back to Miranda, already moving on. "Security will escort you out." Two men in dark suits materialized at the bottom of the stairs. Olivia descended slowly. Each step felt like walking through water. The crowd parted. Some people whispered. Most avoided her eyes. She reached the bottom, past Ethan without looking at him, past Miranda, who had the audacity to smile, reached the hallway that led to the service exit, and pulled out her phone. The screen lit up her face in the dim corridor. She scrolled to a contact she hadn't called in 3 years. Her fingers hovered over the name. Then she pressed call. It rang once. "Olivia?" The voice on the other end was deep concerned, immediately alert. "Is it time?" She closed her eyes, took a breath. When she opened them again, they were dry, clear. "Yes, Father," she said. "Bring the lawyers, and prepare to take his company." "I'll be there in 20 minutes, her father replied. "Do you want me to bring your brothers?" All of them," Olivia said. A smile touched her lips for the first time in hours. "And Father, make an entrance." She hung up, turned around, walked back toward the ballroom. The security guards looked confused. "Ma'am, you need to leave." "I will," Olivia said calmly. "In a moment. I forgot something." She pushed past them before they could argue, re-entered the ballroom. The party had resumed. Music played. People drank and laughed and chatted. Ethan stood in a circle of executives already holding court, Miranda attached to his arm like an expensive accessory. Olivia walked to the bar, ordered a vodka martini. The bartender looked at her with pity. "Dirty," she added, "extra olives." While she waited, she felt eyes on her. Whispers started again. What was she doing? Why was she still here? Didn't she have any dignity? The drink arrived. Olivia took a long sip and waited. Exactly 17 minutes later, the ballroom doors opened. Not the main doors where guests had entered. The grand doors. The ones reserved for heads of state and dignitaries. The ones that required security clearance and advance notice. Every head turned. 5 men walked in. The first was tall, silver-haired, wearing a Tom Ford suit that cost more than Ethan's car. His presence commanded the room instantly. Beside him, 4 younger men, each one broad-shouldered and sharp-eyed, fanned out like a military formation. The music stopped. People froze. Because everyone in that room, everyone who mattered in New York finance recognized James Hart, founder and chairman of Hart Global Holdings, net worth somewhere north of $40 billion. The man who could make or break markets with a single phone call. A ghost in the financial world, rarely seen in public, almost never photographed. And he was walking directly toward Ethan Caldwell. "Mr. Hart." Ethan stammered, practically throwing Miranda aside to step forward. His face had gone from triumphant to starstruck in seconds. "This is such an honor. I had no idea you'd be attending. If I'd known, I would have... Where is my daughter?" James Hart's voice cut through Ethan's babbling like ice. Ethan blinked. I'm sorry. My daughter." James repeated, his eyes scanning the room. "Olivia, where is she?" The ballroom went so quiet you could hear the champagne bubbles popping. Ethan's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and then slowly, horribly understanding began to dawn. "No," he whispered. "There you are," James said, spotting Olivia at the bar. His stern expression softened just slightly. Are you all right?" Olivia set down her martini glass, straightened her spine, walked across the floor that had witnessed her humiliation, and kissed her father on the cheek. "I'm fine now," she said. Then she turned to face Ethan. His face had gone completely white. Miranda's mouth hung open. The entire room stared. "You're—" Ethan couldn't even finish the sentence. "Olivia Hart," she said clearly, daughter of James Hart, granddaughter of Robert Hart, founder of Hart Industries, sister to David Michael Thomas and Andrew Hart. She gestured to the four men flanking her father. "We've met before, actually, at various functions, but I always used my mother's maiden name. Easier that way." One of her brothers, David the eldest, stepped forward. He held a leather portfolio. "Mr. Caldwell, we need to discuss your company's financial situation." "My company?" Ethan's voice cracked. "What about my company? The investment that saved you from bankruptcy 18 months ago." David continued smoothly. "The $20 million capital infusion that allowed you to expand. Do you remember where that came from?" Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed. "Hart Holdings Group. A subsidiary of Hart Global," David confirmed, "which means we own 42% of Caldwell Technologies, just enough to make things very interesting." "But the paperwork," Ethan said desperately. "It was signed by Olivia Hart acting as majority stakeholder representative." Another brother, Michael, finished. "She recommended the investment, said you had potential, that you were worth the risk." The words hit Ethan like bullets. "There's also the matter of the morality clause," the third brother, Thomas, added. He was reading from a document. Section 14, paragraph 3. "Any conduct by the CEO deemed detrimental to the company's reputation gives us the right to call the loan. Immediately. With penalties." "You can't," Ethan breathed. "We can," James Hart said. "And we will. You just publicly humiliated my daughter. Divorce her if you want. That's your right. But you don't get to do it like this. You don't get to treat her like garbage and walk away clean." Ethan turned to Olivia. His eyes were wild, desperate. Livy, baby, I didn't know. You never told me. If I'd known who you were—" "That's exactly why I didn't tell you," Olivia interrupted. Her voice was calm, steady. "I wanted someone to love me, not for my name, not for my money, just me." "I did love you," Ethan insisted. "No," Olivia said. "You loved what I could do for you, how I made you look, how I stayed quiet and pretty and didn't ask questions when you came home smelling like her perfume." Miranda made a small sound. Several people turned to stare at her. "This is a misunderstanding," Ethan tried again. "We can fix this. Cancel the divorce. We'll renew our vows. Make it right." Olivia smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "The papers are already signed," she said. "You made sure of that, in front of witnesses, legally binding." "Then we'll tear them up," Ethan said. "Start over. Please, Olivia, please." James Hart checked his watch. "Gentlemen, make the call." David pulled out his phone. "Wait," Ethan said. "What call? What are you doing?" "Calling our lawyer," David said, "initiating the takeover protocol. By Monday morning, Hart Global will control Caldwell Technologies. You'll be removed as CEO. The board will vote you out." "You can't do that," Ethan shouted. "I built this company. It's mine." "You built it with our money," Michael corrected. "Our investment, our connections, our sister's faith in you." "Which you just destroyed," Thomas added. Andrew, the youngest brother, spoke for the first time. He'd been silent, watching. "You called our sister broke. You humiliated her, made her sign divorce papers in public, told her to leave through the service exit like she was trash." His jaw clenched. "Nobody treats our family like that." "I'll fight you," Ethan said, but his voice wavered. "I'll take this to court. I'll expose you. You'll lose," James said simply. "We have better lawyers, more money, more patience. And after tonight, after this display, you'll have no allies. No one will touch you." He was right. Olivia could see it in the faces around them. The executives who'd laughed at her humiliation now looked horrified. They were already calculating, already distancing themselves from Ethan, already deciding which side of this war they wanted to be on. "Olivia." Ethan tried one more time. He reached for her hand. She stepped back. "Don't," she said quietly. "You made your choice. You said I gave you nothing, so take nothing with you when you go." James' heart placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "The car is outside. Let's go home." Olivia nodded. As they turned to leave, Ethan's voice rang out one last time. "You'll regret this, both of you. I'll make sure of it." James didn't even turn around, but Olivia did. She looked at the man she'd loved, the man she'd hidden herself for, the man who'd shown her exactly what he thought she was worth. "No, Ethan," she said. "You're the one who's going to regret this. Every single day for the rest of your life, you're going to remember the night you threw away the only person who ever truly believed in you." Then she walked out, not through the service exit, through the grand doors, her family around her, her head held high. Behind her, the ballroom erupted into chaos. Questions flew, phones appeared, social media posts started. The story of Ethan Caldwell's spectacular downfall began spreading at the speed of light. But Olivia didn't look back. She was done looking back. The limousine pulled away from the plaza, leaving the chaos behind. Olivia sat between her father and David, her hands folded in her lap, perfectly still. Too still. "Are you hurt?" James asked quietly. "No," Olivia said. Her voice sounded far away, even to herself. "I'm fine." "Olivia," her father pressed. "I said I'm fine." The words came out sharper than she intended. She closed her eyes. "I'm sorry. I just need a minute." David handed her a bottle of water. "Take your time. We've got all night." But they didn't have all night. Already her phone was buzzing, text messages flooding in, social media exploding. Someone had filmed everything. Of course they had. This was New York. Everyone filmed everything. Michael, sitting across from her, scrolled through his tablet. "It's already trending. Hashtag Caldwell divorce. Hashtag broke wife. People are brutal." "Let me see," Olivia said, reaching for the tablet. "You don't want to see this," Michael warned. "Let me see it." He handed it over reluctantly. The video had been posted 14 minutes ago. Already 500,000 views. The comments scrolled past faster than she could read them. Most were vicious. Gold digger got what she deserved. She was probably cheating. He dodged a bullet. A few defended her, but they were drowned out by the tide of cruelty. "Turn it off," James said firmly. "None of that matters." "It does matter," Olivia countered. "This is my reputation, my life. Everyone thinks I'm exactly what he said I am." "Not for long," Thomas said. He was on his phone typing rapidly. "Give it an hour, 2 at most. The truth will come out." "How?" Olivia asked. Thomas looked up, his expression dark. "Because I'm making sure it does. Every business connection Ethan has, every investor, every board member. They're all getting a very detailed email right about now, with evidence." "What kind of evidence?" Olivia asked. "The kind that shows exactly who funded his company," Thomas replied. "The kind that shows his financials are built on sand. The kind that shows he's been embezzling funds through his mistress's consulting firm for the past 8 months. Olivia sat up straighter. "What?" "You didn't know," David asked. "Know what?" David and Thomas exchanged glances. James sighed. "We've been watching him," her father admitted. "Ever since you married him. We hired investigators, quietly. We needed to know who our daughter was living with." "You spied on my husband," Olivia's voice rose. "We protected our daughter," James corrected. "And it's a good thing we did. Ethan Caldwell is not who he pretends to be. The self-made tech genius story, fiction. His first company failed, spectacularly. He was bankrupt at 28. The only reason Caldwell Technologies exists is because he convinced an early investor to give him another chance." "Who was the investor?" Olivia asked, though she was starting to suspect she knew the answer. "You were," David said gently. "Well, technically Hart Global was, but you signed off on it. You met with him, reviewed his business plan, believed in his vision. You convinced us to take the risk." The memory came back slowly, 3.5 years ago, before they were married, before she'd fallen completely under his spell. She'd been working for her father, learning the business from the inside. Ethan had pitched his idea at a venture capital meeting. She'd been impressed by his passion, his intelligence, his charm. She'd recommended the investment. She'd believed in him. "I was so stupid," Olivia whispered. "You were hopeful," James corrected. "There's a difference. You saw potential in him. You gave him a chance. That's not stupid. That's generous." "And look where it got me," Olivia said bitterly. The car pulled up to a building Olivia hadn't seen in 3 years. Hart Tower, 90 stories of steel and glass in the heart of Manhattan. Her family's legacy built over 3 generations. "Why are we here?" she asked. "Because you need to see something," James said. They rode the private elevator to the top floor, the executive suite. Olivia had practically grown up in these offices. She knew every corner, every painting, every piece of furniture. But something was different. Her father led her to the corner office, his office, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He opened the door. Inside, everything had been cleared out. The massive desk was gone. The leather chairs, the bookshelves, the awards and photographs, all of it removed. In its place stood a new desk, smaller, more modern. A laptop sat open on top. Files were stacked neatly on one side. And on the wall behind the desk hung a single photograph. Olivia and her mother taken 20 years ago, before her mother died, before everything changed. "What is this?" Olivia asked, her throat tight. "Your office," James said. "If you want it. I'm stepping down as chairman, effective Monday." Olivia spun around. "What? No, you can't. This company is your life." "This company is our family's life," James corrected. "And it's time for the next generation to take over. David will be CEO, but I want you as chairman, if you'll take it." "Dad, I can't. I haven't worked here in 3 years. I don't know the current deals, the investments, the strategies." "You'll learn," James said. "You're brilliant, Olivia. You always have been. You just spent 3 years hiding that brilliance because you thought it would make a small man love you more." The words hit like a punch. "I need you to stop hiding," James continued. "I need you to remember who you are, what you're capable of. This company needs you. I need you." Olivia looked around the office, at the desk that could be hers, at the photograph of her mother who died when Olivia was 12. Her mother who'd been a force of nature, a businesswoman who'd never apologized for her intelligence or her ambition. "I'll think about it," Olivia said finally. "That's all I ask," James replied. Andrew appeared in the doorway. "Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this now." He held up his phone. On the screen was a live news broadcast. The chyron read, "Tech CEO Ethan Caldwell responds to divorce scandal." Ethan's face filled the screen. He stood outside the plaza, microphones shoved in his face, cameras flashing. He looked disheveled, his tie loose, his hair messed. "This is all a misunderstanding," Ethan was saying. "My wife and I had a disagreement. Things got heated. I said things I didn't mean, but the video circulating online has been edited, taken out of context. The truth is, Olivia and I are working through our issues privately." "He's lying," Olivia breathed. "Of course he is," David said. "He's panicking. His investors are calling. His board is questioning him. He needs to control the narrative." On screen, a reporter asked, "Mr. Caldwell, is it true that your wife is Olivia Hart, daughter of billionaire James Hart?" Ethan's face went pale. "I'm not going to comment on my wife's family. That's private." "So you confirm she is a Hart?" another reporter pressed. "I'm not confirming anything," Ethan snapped. "This interview is over." He tried to push through the crowd. Cameras followed. Questions flew. Someone shouted, "Is it true Hart Global is pulling their investment?" Ethan froze, turned back. "That's a lie. Hart Global and Caldwell Technologies have an excellent relationship. There's no truth to those rumors." "We'll see about that," Thomas muttered, still typing on his phone. Olivia's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello?" "Olivia, thank God!" It was Margaret Chen, Ethan's mother. Her voice was frantic. "What is happening? Ethan just called me. He said terrible things. He said you're trying to destroy him." "I'm not trying to destroy him, Margaret," Olivia said calmly. "I'm simply stopping him from destroying me." "But the divorce," The scene at the gala. Everyone is talking. This is humiliating for both of you." "For both of us," Olivia repeated. "Margaret, your son called me broke and worthless in front of 300 people. He had his mistress throw a pen at me. He told me to leave through the service exit, and you're worried about humiliation." Silence on the other end. "I raised him better than this." Margaret finally said, her voice small. "Maybe you did," Olivia replied, "but somewhere along the way he forgot, or maybe he never learned. Either way, it's not my problem anymore." "Please," Margaret begged, "please don't let your family destroy his company. He worked so hard. This will kill him." "He should have thought of that before he killed our marriage," Olivia said. Then she hung up. Her hands were shaking. She set the phone down on the desk. "That was his mother?" David asked. Olivia nodded. "What did she want?" "For me to save him," Olivia said, "to protect him from the consequences of his own actions. And what did you say?" "I said no." David smiled. "Good." The night wore on. More calls came in. Ethan's business partners trying to get information. Reporters looking for statements. Old friends suddenly remembering Olivia existed. She ignored most of them, but one call she did take. Olivia Hart. The voice was unfamiliar, male, confident. "Who is this?" "My name is Adrian Blake. I'm an attorney. I represent several of Ethan Caldwell's investors. Or rather, I did until about an hour ago when they all fired him." Olivia sat up straighter. "What do you mean, fired him?" "Emergency board meeting," Adrian explained. "Called at 9 p.m. Vote was unanimous. Ethan Caldwell is no longer CEO of Caldwell Technologies. The board has asked me to reach out to you. They'd like to discuss the future of the company." "Why me?" "Because Hart Global owns 42%. Because you have the power to stabilize things or let it all collapse. And because, frankly, you're the only person involved in this mess who hasn't committed fraud." "Fraud?" Olivia's voice sharpened. "The embezzlement I mentioned earlier," Thomas interjected, having listened in on speaker. "It's worse than we thought. Miranda Chen's consulting firm has been billing Caldwell Technologies for services never rendered, to the tune of $2.3 million over 8 months. "Jesus," Olivia whispered. "There's more," Adrian continued. "Ethan used company funds to purchase personal assets. A car, a vacation home in the Hamptons, jewelry for his mistress. All of it hidden in the books as business expenses." "Can you prove it?" Olivia asked. "I have the receipts," Adrian said, "and I have testimony from the CFO who's willing to cooperate in exchange for immunity. He says Ethan forced him to falsify records." "Forced him how?" "Threatened his job, his family, classic intimidation tactics." Olivia felt sick. This was the man she'd married, the man she'd loved, or thought she loved. "What do you need from me?" she asked Adrian. "A meeting," he replied. "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You, me, and the remaining board members. We need to decide the future of this company before the market opens on Monday." "I'll be there," Olivia said. She hung up and looked at her father. "Did you know about the fraud?" "We suspected," James admitted, "but we didn't have proof until tonight. Thomas's investigators moved fast once the divorce became public." "Why didn't you tell me?" Olivia demanded. "Because you weren't ready to hear it," James said gently. "You still loved him. Or you thought you did. If we'd told you, you would have defended him, made excuses. We needed you to see who he really was with your own eyes." "So, you let him humiliate me?" Olivia's voice rose. "You let him tear me apart in public knowing you could have stopped it." "We couldn't stop it," David said. "Not without exposing ourselves too early. Ethan had to show his true colors. The world had to see what kind of man he really is." "And I had to be collateral damage," Olivia shouted. "You were never collateral," James said firmly. "You were always the target. We were protecting you, building a case, making sure that when this all came out you would be safe, protected, vindicated." Olivia wanted to scream, wanted to throw something, wanted to rage against all of them for their secrets and their schemes and their manipulations. But she was so tired. "I need to go home," she said. "You are home," James said, gesturing to the office. "No," Olivia corrected. "I need to go to my apartment, the place I shared with Ethan. I need to get my things before he changes the locks." "He already did," Andrew said quietly. "I had someone check. New locks as of 2 hours ago." Of course he did. Then we break in, Olivia said. Or, Thomas suggested, we send a lawyer with a police escort and force him to let you in. The apartment is in both your names. You have a legal right to access it. How long will that take? Could have someone there in an hour. Olivia nodded. Do it. While Thomas made calls, Olivia walked to the window. The city sparkled below. Millions of lights. Millions of lives. Somewhere down there, Ethan was probably drinking himself into oblivion, or plotting revenge, or both. She should feel victorious. She'd exposed him, ruined him, taken everything he valued, but all she felt was empty. Olivia, her father said softly, coming to stand beside her. I know this is hard. I know you're hurting, but you need to understand something. What happened tonight, that was necessary. Painful, but necessary. Why? Olivia asked. Because you needed to know, James said. Really know, not suspect, not wonder, know. That's the only way you could move forward without regrets, without what-ifs. Now you know exactly who Ethan Caldwell is, and you can close that chapter of your life completely. What if I don't want to close it? Olivia whispered. What if part of me still loves him? Then that part of you will heal, James said. In time. But Olivia, love isn't supposed to hurt this much. Love isn't supposed to make you smaller. It's supposed to make you bigger, stronger, better. What Ethan gave you wasn't love. It was control disguised as love. Olivia leaned her forehead against the cool glass. How did you know about Mom? How did you know she was the one? James smiled, the sadness in his eyes deepening. Because she never asked me to be anything other than exactly who I was. She challenged me, pushed me, made me think. But she never asked me to shrink. And I never asked her to either. That's how you know it's real. When you can be fully yourself and the other person loves you more for it, not less. I don't know if I'll ever find that, Olivia said. You will, James promised. But first, you have to remember how to be fully yourself again. You've been playing a role for 3 years, being who you thought Ethan wanted. It's time to stop acting and start living. Thomas appeared in the doorway. The lawyer's at the apartment. Ethan's there. He's refusing to let anyone in. Then get a court order, David said. Already in progress, Thomas replied. But it'll take until morning. Judge won't sign anything tonight. So I'm locked out of my own home, Olivia said. You can stay here, James offered. We have residences on the 75th floor, fully furnished. You can have your pick. Olivia shook her head. I want my things, my clothes, my mother's jewelry, the books she left me. I want what's mine. And you'll get it, James assured her. First thing tomorrow. But tonight you need rest. You've been through hell. Let us handle the logistics. Reluctantly, Olivia agreed. Andrew showed her to a suite on the residential floor. It was beautiful, sterile. Everything in shades of white and gray, like a luxury hotel. Nothing like home. She showered, washing away the smell of the gala, the champagne and perfume and humiliation. Then she put on a robe she found in the closet and sat on the bed. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I'm sorry. Just those 2 words. She knew it was Ethan. Somehow he'd gotten a burner phone, or borrowed someone else's. Another text came through. Please call me. Let me explain. Then another. I love you. I've always loved you. Tonight was a mistake. I was drunk, angry. I didn't mean any of it. Olivia stared at the messages. Part of her wanted to respond, wanted to hear his voice, wanted to believe that the man she'd married was still in there somewhere, buried under the lies and the cruelty. But she knew better now. She blocked the number, then she opened her contacts and scrolled to a name she hadn't thought about in years. Dr. Sarah Chen, her therapist from college, the woman who'd helped her through her mother's death, who'd taught her that she was allowed to take up space, to have opinions, to be more than just nice and accommodating. Olivia typed out a message. Hi, Dr. Chen, it's Olivia Hart. I know it's been a long time, but I need help. Are you still practicing? The response came back in minutes. Olivia, of course I remember you. Yes, I'm still practicing. Are you okay? Olivia's fingers hovered over the keyboard. Was she okay? No, not even close. I will be, she typed. Can I make an appointment? I'll see you tomorrow, Dr. Chen replied. 2 p.m., my office. We'll talk. Olivia set down the phone, lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow she'd face the board, reclaim her apartment, start therapy, begin rebuilding her life. But tonight she'd let herself feel everything. The pain, the anger, the grief, the loss of the future she'd imagined, the death of the marriage she'd believed in. She'd let herself break, because she knew now that breaking wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of becoming whole again. Morning came too fast. Olivia woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the sound of her phone buzzing relentlessly on the nightstand. 47 missed calls, 36 text messages, 12 voicemails. She ignored all of them. At 8:30, she dressed in a suit she found hanging in the closet. Navy blue, perfectly tailored, probably left there by some other Hart family member. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. The woman staring back looked powerful, untouchable. Nothing like the person who'd signed divorce papers less than 12 hours ago. David knocked on the door at 8:45. "Ready?" "No," Olivia said honestly, "but let's go anyway." The boardroom was on the 87th floor. 12 people sat around a massive glass table, all of them watching her as she entered. She recognized most of them. Ethan's board members, the people he'd bragged about impressing, the people who'd laughed at his jokes and approved his strategies and never questioned where the money came from. Now they looked terrified. Adrian Blake stood at the head of the table. He was younger than she'd expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes and an expensive suit. "Ms. Hart, thank you for coming." "Let's skip the pleasantries," Olivia said, taking a seat. "You said there was fraud. Show me." Adrian opened a folder and slid it across the table. Inside were bank statements, invoices, receipts, emails, page after page of evidence. Olivia read through it methodically, her stomach turning with each new revelation. Miranda Chen's consulting firm had billed for strategy sessions that never happened, marketing campaigns that were never launched, business trips that were actually romantic getaways, $2.3 million in 8 months. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the email chain between Ethan and Miranda discussing how to hide it all, laughing about it, calling the CFO a coward for hesitating, calling the board blind idiots who'd never notice, calling Olivia the perfect cover because she was too stupid to understand finance anyway. "When was this written?" Olivia asked, her voice deadly calm. Adrian checked the date. 6 months ago. 6 months. While she'd been planning their anniversary, while she'd been trying to save their marriage, while she'd been blaming herself for not being enough, he'd thought she was stupid. "Where is he now?" Olivia asked. "At the apartment," one of the board members said. A man named Gerald Hutchins, chief financial officer, the one who'd been threatened. "He's been calling all of us, threatening lawsuits, saying this is all a misunderstanding, that you're behind it, that you're trying to steal his company." "His company," Olivia repeated flatly. "The one funded with my family's money. The one he built using my connections, that company." Gerald had the grace to look ashamed. "We didn't know who you were. He never told us. He always said his wife was from a small town in Ohio, that her family was working class, that she'd married up." "And you believed him," Olivia said. "We had no reason not to," another board member said, Rebecca Song, head of operations. "He seemed devoted to you, talked about you constantly, said you were his inspiration." "His inspiration," Olivia said, "right up until he called me worthless trash in front of 300 people. The room fell silent. "Here's what's going to happen," Olivia said, standing up. "Hart Global is exercising its option to acquire full controlling interest in Caldwell Technologies. We're calling the loan with penalties. That gives us 68% ownership. You're going to vote to remove Ethan Caldwell not just as CEO, but from the board entirely. You're going to cooperate fully with investigators regarding the fraud, and you're going to do it today." "And if we refuse?" Gerald asked, though his voice shook. "Then Hart Global withdraws entirely," Olivia said. "We pull every dollar, call every loan, and we let Caldwell Technologies collapse under the weight of its own corruption. Which would you prefer?" No one spoke. "I thought so," Olivia said. "Adrian, draft the paperwork. I want this done before market close." She turned to leave, but Rebecca called out, "Ms. Hart, wait. What happens to us, to our jobs?" Olivia paused at the door. "That depends. Are any of you involved in the fraud?" "No," Rebecca said quickly. "We had no idea. Gerald suspected something was wrong with the finances, but Ethan shut him down every time he asked questions." "Then you keep your jobs," Olivia said. "For now. But understand this. I'm not my husband. I don't tolerate incompetence or dishonesty. You had a fiduciary duty to investigate when something seemed wrong. You failed. That's on you. Don't fail again." She walked out before anyone could respond. David was waiting in the hallway. "That was brutal." "That was necessary," Olivia corrected. "They enabled him. Maybe not intentionally, but they did. They're lucky I'm letting them stay at all." "Where to now?" David asked. "The apartment," Olivia said. "I want my things, and I want to see his face when he realizes it's over." The apartment was in a Tribeca, a penthouse Ethan had purchased 2 years ago, insisting they needed something that reflected his success. Olivia had loved it at first. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a terrace overlooking the Hudson, enough space to breathe. Now it just felt like a cage. The lawyer was waiting outside a woman named Patricia Ortiz. "He's inside, still refusing to open the door. But I have the court order now. He has to comply or he'll be held in contempt." "Then make him comply," Olivia said. Patricia knocked. "Mr. Caldwell, this is Patricia Ortiz representing Olivia Hart. I have a court order granting her access to the residence. Open the door or I'll call the police." Silence. Then the sound of locks turning. The door opened. Ethan stood there in rumpled clothes, his eyes bloodshot, his face unshaven. He looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. "Olivia," he said, his voice hoarse. "Thank God. I've been trying to call you. We need to talk." "No, we don't," Olivia said, brushing past him. "I'm here for my belongings, that's all." She walked into the apartment. It looked the same, pristine, cold, exactly how Ethan liked it. She'd always wanted to add warmth. Photos, books, color, but he'd vetoed every suggestion. "Your taste is too pedestrian," he'd said. "Let the decorator handle it." "Olivia, please." Ethan followed her. "You have to listen to me. Last night was insane. I was drunk. I said things I didn't mean. But we can fix this. We can start over." "Start over." Olivia laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. "Ethan, you called me broke and worthless. You humiliated me in public. You had your mistress throw things at me. What exactly are we starting over from?" "I know," Ethan said desperately. "I know I messed up. But you blindsided me. You never told me who your family was. You lied to me for 3 years." "I used my mother's name," Olivia said, opening the bedroom closet and pulling out suitcases. "That's not lying. That's protecting myself. And clearly I was right to do it because look what happened the second you found out. You didn't apologize for how you treated me. You tried to take it back because you realized I have money." "That's not true," Ethan insisted. "Isn't it?" Olivia started throwing clothes into the suitcase. "Tell me, Ethan, if I really was broke, would you be here begging right now, or would you be celebrating with Miranda?" Ethan's face flushed. "Miranda means nothing to me." $2.3 million says otherwise," Olivia shot back. He went pale. "What are you talking about?" "The fraud, Ethan, the embezzlement. Did you really think no one would notice that you could steal from your own company and get away with it?" "I didn't steal anything," Ethan said, but his voice wavered. "Those were legitimate business expenses." "Really?" Olivia pulled out her phone and read from the email Adrian had forwarded her. "Legitimate business expenses like the diamond necklace you bought Miranda, the one that cost $60,000? Or how about the villa in Turks and Caicos you rented for a week, the one where you told the board you were at a tech conference in Singapore?" Ethan's jaw clenched. "You're going through my emails." "Your company emails," Olivia corrected, "which as of this morning I have full access to. Hart Global now owns 68% of Caldwell Technologies. The board voted unanimously to remove you as CEO. You're done, Ethan." He stared at her, his face cycling through shocked disbelief and finally rage. "You can't do this. That's my company. I built it from nothing." "You built it from my family's money," Olivia said. "Money I convinced them to invest because I believed in you, because I thought you were honest and hardworking and decent. I was wrong." "You're going to regret this," Ethan said, his voice low and threatening. "I'll fight you. I'll drag you through every court in this country. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of vindictive woman you really are." "Go ahead," Olivia said calmly, zipping up the first suitcase. Try it, see what happens. Because here's what I have, Ethan. I have evidence of fraud. I have testimony from your CFO. I have emails proving you embezzled funds. I have witnesses to your abuse. And I have the best lawyers money can buy. What do you have? Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it. That's what I thought, Olivia said. She moved to her mother's jewelry box, the one thing in this apartment that truly mattered to her. Now get out of my way. Those are community property, Ethan said, grabbing her wrist. Half of everything in this apartment is mine. Olivia looked down at his hand on her arm, then up at his face. Let go of me. Or what? Ethan sneered. Or I'll have you arrested for assault, Patricia said from the doorway. She held up her phone. I've been recording this entire conversation. You just threatened her and grabbed her. That's enough for a restraining order, maybe even criminal charges. Ethan released Olivia's wrist like it burned him. My mother's jewelry was given to me before we married, Olivia said, opening the box and checking that everything was still there. Her mother's wedding ring, the pearl necklace, the sapphire earrings. It's separate property, not subject to division, but thank you for reminding me to take it now before you try to sell it. She packed the jewelry carefully, then moved through the apartment systematically. Her books, her laptop, the few photographs she'd managed to display despite Ethan's objections. Her grandmother's quilt, everything that was truly hers. Ethan watched his fists, clenched his face red with suppressed fury. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. No, Olivia said, pausing at the door with her suitcases. The biggest mistake of my life was marrying you. This is me fixing it. She walked out without looking back. In the hallway, David was waiting with building security. All good, Olivia confirmed. They loaded the suitcases into the car. As they pulled away from the building, Olivia's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. Ms. Hart. A woman's voice, unfamiliar. This is Detective Rachel Morrison with the Manhattan DA's White-Collar Crime Unit. We've received information regarding potential financial crimes at Caldwell Technologies. We'd like to speak with you. Olivia's heart raced. What kind of information? We've been investigating Mr. Caldwell for several weeks, Detective Morrison said. An anonymous tip came in last month regarding suspicious transactions. We've been building a case. After last night's events became public, several more witnesses came forward. We have enough now to move forward with charges. What kind of charges? Olivia asked. Embezzlement, wire fraud, tax evasion, money laundering. Detective Morrison paused. Ms. Hart, your husband has been running a sophisticated fraud scheme for at least 18 months, possibly longer. We need your cooperation to build the strongest case possible. Olivia closed her eyes. Part of her had hoped it wouldn't come to this, that Ethan would just disappear quietly, that she could move on without criminal proceedings. But she knew that was naive. What do you need from me? She asked. A formal statement, access to any financial records you have, timeline of events, anything that might help us establish a pattern of behavior. I'll cooperate fully, Olivia said, but I want immunity for anyone at the company who was coerced or threatened. The CFO, Gerald Hutchins, he tried to stop it. Ethan threatened his family. We can arrange that, Detective Morrison said. Can you come to our office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.? I'll be there, Olivia confirmed. She hung up and looked at David. They're filing criminal charges. Good, David said. He deserves it. He's going to prison, Olivia said, the reality of it hitting her. Ethan is actually going to prison. Yes, David said gently. And that's not your fault. That's his. He made choices, bad choices. Now he faces consequences. Olivia nodded, but she felt numb. 3 years of her life tied to a man who was going to be a convicted felon. 3 years of believing in someone who'd been lying the entire time. The car pulled up to Hart Tower. Olivia got out her legs unsteady. David took her arm. You okay? He asked. I don't know, Olivia admitted. I don't know what I am. They rode the elevator up. The doors opened on the executive floor. James was waiting. The vote went through, he said. Caldwell Technologies is officially under Hart Global control. Ethan's been removed from all positions. Security is escorting him out of the building as we speak. That was fast. Olivia said. "We don't waste time," James replied. "And speaking of which, the board wants to meet with you. They want to discuss the transition, your role, the future of the company." "I'm not ready for this," Olivia said. "You are," James said firmly. "You're more ready than you know. Come on, they're waiting." The conference room was full. Not just her family now, but Hart Global's executive team. CFO, COO, General Counsel, Head of Acquisitions, people who'd known her since she was a child. They all stood when she entered. "Olivia," the CFO said. His name was Robert Chen, no relation to Margaret. "We've reviewed the Caldwell situation. We're recommending immediate restructuring, new management, new board, complete overhaul." "How long will that take?" Olivia asked. 3 months if we move fast," Robert said. 6 if we're thorough. "Be thorough," Olivia said. "I want every contract reviewed, every transaction audited, every employee vetted. If there's any more rot, I want it cut out." "Understood," Robert said. "And regarding leadership, we need someone to run the company during the transition, someone who understands both the tech industry and corporate governance, someone the employees will trust." Everyone looked at her. "No," Olivia said immediately. "I can't. I've been away from the business for 3 years. I don't know the current landscape." "You know more than you think," the COO said. Her name was Lisa Martinez. "You have an MBA from Wharton. You worked in venture capital. You understand startups. And most importantly, you have credibility. The employees know you were wronged. They'll respect you." "I have to agree," the general counsel added. "From a PR standpoint, it's perfect. The wronged wife taking over and making things right. The media will eat it up." "I don't care about the media," Olivia said. "But you care about those employees," James said quietly. "The ones who had nothing to do with Ethan's fraud. The engineers and developers and support staff who are terrified right now because their company just imploded. They need a leader, someone who can stabilize things, give them hope." Olivia looked around the room, at the faces watching her, waiting for her decision. "Interim CEO," she said finally. 3 months, just until we find someone permanent. "Deal," James said, a smile tugging at his lips. "But I have conditions," Olivia continued. "I want full transparency, no more secrets, no more schemes. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. Legal, ethical, above board." "Agreed," Robert said. "And I want therapy," Olivia added. "Mandatory, for me, for the executive team, for anyone impacted by this situation. We bring in professionals. We deal with the trauma. We don't just move on and pretend everything's fine." Lisa nodded. "That's actually a great idea. I'll set it up." "When do I start?" Olivia asked. "Monday," James said. "Press conference at 10 a.m. We announce the takeover, your appointment, the investigation, everything out in the open." Olivia took a deep breath. "Okay, Monday." The meeting wrapped up. People filed out, already making calls, sending emails, setting things in motion. Olivia stayed behind, standing at the window, looking out over the city. James came to stand beside her. "Your mother would be proud." "Would she?" Olivia asked. "I married a criminal, wasted 3 years of my life, almost let him destroy me." "But you didn't let him," James said. "That's what matters. You could have stayed quiet, stayed small, stayed broken. But you didn't. You fought back. You reclaimed your power. That's exactly what she would have done." Olivia's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This isn't over. You're going to pay for what you've done." She showed it to her father. His face hardened. "Forward that to Detective Morrison and to our security team. We're getting you a protective detail." "That's not necessary," Olivia started. "It's not negotiable," James interrupted. "Ethan is desperate. Desperate people do dangerous things. Until he's in custody, you're not taking any chances." As if summoning him, David appeared in the doorway. "Turn on the news. Now." James grabbed the remote. The screen flickered to life. A press conference. Ethan standing at a podium, cameras flashing. "I've been the victim of a coordinated attack," Ethan was saying, his voice steady, controlled. So different from the desperate man at the apartment. My soon-to-be ex-wife Olivia Hart and her family have conspired to steal my company. They've fabricated evidence, coerced witnesses, destroyed my reputation. But I won't go down without a fight. I'm filing a lawsuit against Hart Global for defamation, tortious interference, and unlawful seizure of assets. I will prove my innocence, and I will reclaim what's mine. The screen cut to a reporter. In a stunning development tech, CEO Ethan Caldwell is fighting back against allegations of fraud. He claims the Hart family is engaged in a corporate takeover based on false accusations. Legal experts say this could become one of the biggest business disputes of the decade. James turned off the TV. He's insane. He's desperate, David corrected, and he's going to lose. How can you be sure? Olivia asked. Because we have the truth, David said simply. And he has lies. Lies always collapse eventually. But Olivia wasn't so sure. She'd seen Ethan lie for 3 years, seen how good he was at it, how convincing, how people believed him because they wanted to believe him. What if they believed him now? What if this wasn't over at all? What if it was just beginning? The lawsuit hit like a bomb on Sunday morning. Olivia was drinking coffee in her temporary office when Thomas burst through the door, a stack of papers in his hand. He actually did it, Thomas said, dropping the documents on her desk. $150 million. He's suing for damages, emotional distress, and loss of future earnings. Olivia picked up the complaint and started reading. Each line was more absurd than the last. Ethan claimed she'd infiltrated his life under false pretenses, that she'd hidden her identity specifically to trap him, that her family had orchestrated the entire relationship as a corporate espionage scheme. This is insane, Olivia said. It's also smart, Thomas admitted. He's reframing the narrative, making himself the victim. Look at the language. He's claiming you seduced him, married him under a false name, stole his business secrets, then destroyed him when he discovered the truth. None of that is true, Olivia said. Doesn't matter, Thomas replied. What matters is how it plays in court and in the media. He filed this an hour ago. It's already trending. Hashtag corporate conspiracy. Hashtag Who Eyes Olivia Hart. People are eating it up. Olivia's phone started ringing. Her PR team, her lawyers, friends she hadn't spoken to in years suddenly concerned. She ignored them all. What do we do? She asked. We fight back, Thomas said. We file a countersuit. We release the evidence of fraud. We destroy his credibility before this gains traction. Or, a voice said from the doorway, we let him think he's winning. Adrian Blake stood there looking far too calm for someone whose client was being sued for 9 figures. What are you talking about? Olivia asked. Adrian stepped into the office and closed the door. Ethan's lawsuit is desperate, sloppy, full of holes. Any decent lawyer will tear it apart. But if we respond too quickly, too aggressively, we look guilty, like we're trying to hide something. So we do nothing, Thomas demanded. We do something better, Adrian said. We let him hang himself. See, Ethan made a critical mistake. He filed a civil suit before the criminal investigation concluded. That means anything he says in depositions, any evidence he provides, can be used against him in the criminal case. Olivia began to understand. He's going to incriminate himself. Exactly, Adrian confirmed. The DA is watching this closely. Every lie Ethan tells under oath, every document he fabricates, every witness he intimidates, it all builds the criminal case. So we play defense, we answer the lawsuit, we provide our evidence calmly and methodically, and we watch him spiral. How long will that take? Olivia asked. Months, Adrian admitted. Maybe a year. Civil litigation is slow, but the criminal case is moving faster. Detective Morrison told me they're planning to file charges within 2 weeks. 2 weeks, Olivia repeated. I'm supposed to just wait while he drags my name through the mud for 2 weeks. You're supposed to focus on what you can control, Adrian said, which is running Caldwell Technologies, proving you're a competent leader, showing the world that you're not the villain he's making you out to be. Before Olivia could respond, her phone rang again. This time, the caller ID made her stomach drop. Margaret Chen. I should take this, Olivia said. Adrian and Thomas left. Olivia answered the call. Olivia, thank God, Margaret said. Her voice was thick with tears. Have you seen what he's doing, the lawsuit, the press conference? This isn't my son. This isn't the boy I raised. Margaret, I can't talk to you about this, Olivia said carefully. We're in litigation. Anything I say could be used against me. I'm not recording you, Margaret said. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just a mother watching her son destroy himself, and I don't know how to stop him. Something in her voice made Olivia pause. What do you mean? He came to see me last night, Margaret said. He was manic, talking a mile a minute, saying he had a plan, that he was going to make you pay, that he was going to take everything from your family the way you took everything from him. Olivia, I think he's having a breakdown. Did he threaten me specifically? Olivia asked, suddenly alert. Not directly, Margaret said, but the way he talked, the look in his eyes, I've never seen him like that. I'm scared. Not for him, for you. I have security, Olivia said. I'm safe. Are you? Margaret asked. Because Ethan knows things about you, personal things, where you like to go, what you do when you're stressed. He lived with you for 3 years, Olivia. He knows your patterns. A chill ran down Olivia's spine. Why are you telling me this? Because you don't deserve what he's doing to you, Margaret said. I know my son. I know when he's lying. And everything he said at that gala, everything in that lawsuit, it's all lies. He's just trying to save himself, and I can't let him destroy you to do it. What are you going to do? Olivia asked. I don't know yet, Margaret admitted. But if the DA calls me, I'm going to tell the truth, even if it means my son goes to prison. She hung up before Olivia could respond. Olivia sat there, phone in hand, trying to process what just happened. Ethan's own mother was willing to testify against him. That changed everything. Her phone buzzed with a text. Unknown number again. You think you're safe in your tower. You're not. I'm coming for you. Olivia forwarded it to Detective Morrison and to her security team immediately. Within minutes, her phone rang. Ms. Hart, this is Captain Stevens from your security detail. We're increasing your protection effective immediately. You don't go anywhere without 2 guards minimum. We're also sweeping your office and residence for surveillance devices. You think he bugged me? Olivia asked. We think he's unstable and has access to resources, Stevens said. We're not taking chances. Stay where you are. We're coming to you. The next hour was a blur. Security teams swept every room. They found 3 devices, one in her temporary apartment, one in the office she'd been using, one in her car. How long have these been here? Olivia asked, staring at the tiny cameras and microphones laid out on the table. Based on the model, at least 6 months, the tech specialist said. These aren't cheap, professional grade. Someone spent serious money on surveillance. Ethan, Olivia said. Maybe, the specialist said, or someone working for him. We'll trace the purchase, but these are usually bought through shell companies. Hard to track. 6 months. Ethan had been spying on her for 6 months, listening to her phone calls, watching her in her own home. The violation of it made her physically ill. I need air, Olivia said, standing abruptly. Ms. Hart, you can't leave without your detail, Captain Stevens said. Then they can come with me, Olivia snapped, but I'm not staying in this room another second. She walked to the terrace, 2 guards trailing behind her. The city sprawled below, indifferent to her crisis. Somewhere out there, Ethan was plotting his next move, and she had no idea what it would be. Her phone rang. Dr. Chen. Olivia, I saw the news, Dr. Chen said. Are you okay? No, Olivia admitted. I'm really not. Can you come in today? Dr. Chen asked. I know it's Sunday, but I think we should talk. I'll be there in an hour, Olivia said. The therapy session was exactly what she needed. Dr. Chen didn't judge or advise or try to fix anything. She just listened. Tell me what you're feeling right now, Dr. Chen said. Violated, Olivia said. He was watching me, listening to me. For months, in my own home, I feel like I'll never be safe again. That's a normal response to this kind of invasion, Dr. Chen said. Your sense of safety has been shattered. It will take time to rebuild. I don't have time, Olivia said. I have a press conference tomorrow, a company to run, a lawsuit to fight. I can't fall apart now. You're not falling apart, Dr. Chen said gently. You're responding appropriately to trauma. But Olivia, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to handle any of this. So what do I do? Olivia asked. You give yourself permission to feel, Dr. Chen said. You stop trying to be strong every second of every day. You let yourself be angry and scared and hurt because those feelings are valid, and they're not going to go away just because you ignore them. Olivia felt tears building. She'd been holding them back for days, since the gala, since the divorce, since her entire life imploded. "I loved him," she whispered. "Even after everything, part of me still loves him. How pathetic is that?" "It's not pathetic," Dr. Chen said. "It's human. You spent 3 years with this person. You built a life together. That doesn't just disappear overnight. Grieving that loss doesn't make you weak. It makes you real." The tears came then, not gentle crying, but deep, wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. Dr. Chen handed her tissues and waited. When Olivia finally stopped, she felt emptied out. Raw, but also lighter somehow. "Better?" Dr. Chen asked. "A little," Olivia admitted. "Good," Dr. Chen said. "Now let's talk about tomorrow, the press conference. What are you afraid of?" "That no one will believe me," Olivia said. "That they'll think I'm exactly what Ethan says I am, a manipulative liar who destroyed him for sport." "And if they do think that?" Dr. Chen asked. "Then I've lost," Olivia said. "Have you?" Dr. Chen challenged. "Your worth isn't determined by public opinion. Your value isn't measured by how strangers on the internet perceive you. You know the truth. Your family knows the truth. The evidence supports the truth. That's what matters." "I wish I believed that," Olivia said. "Then practice believing it," Dr. Chen said. "Every time you have a negative thought, counter it with the truth. You're not a liar. You're a survivor. You're not manipulative. You're protecting yourself. You didn't destroy Ethan. He destroyed himself." Olivia nodded, trying to absorb the words. The session ended with homework. Journal every day. Practice self-compassion. Set boundaries. Take breaks. All the things Olivia was terrible at. When she left Dr. Chen's office, her phone was full of messages again, but one stood out. Adrian Blake. "Call me. Urgent," she called. "Ethan just fired his lawyers," Adrian said without preamble. "What? Why?" "Because they told him the lawsuit was unwinnable, that he should settle quietly. He refused, told them they were cowards, and hired someone new, someone willing to fight dirty." "Who?" Olivia asked. "Marcus Vance," Adrian said, and she could hear the concern in his voice. "Should I know that name?" Olivia asked. "He's a pit bull," Adrian said. "Specializes in high-profile cases. Doesn't care about ethics or truth, just winning. He's going to make this ugly, Olivia. Really ugly." "How ugly?" Olivia asked. "He's already filed motions to subpoena your medical records, your therapy notes, your financial history, everything. He's looking for anything he can use to paint you as unstable or vindictive." "Can he do that?" Olivia demanded. "He can try," Adrian said. "We'll fight it, but it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be public. Are you ready for that?" Olivia thought about Dr. Chen's words, about knowing her truth, about not letting public opinion define her worth. "Yes," she said, "I'm ready." Monday morning arrived with media trucks surrounding Hart Tower. Olivia dressed carefully, a charcoal suit, minimal makeup, her mother's pearl earrings for strength. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. At 9:45, James found her in the green room. "You don't have to do this," he said. "I can handle the press. You can stay behind the scenes." "No," Olivia said. "I need to face this. If I hide it, looks like I have something to hide." "You're sure?" James pressed. "I'm sure," Olivia said, surprised to find she meant it. They walked out together. The room exploded with camera flashes and shouted questions. Olivia took her place at the podium, her family flanking her. "Good morning," she said, her voice steady. "Thank you all for coming. I'm going to make a brief statement, then we'll take a few questions." She looked directly into the cameras. Somewhere Ethan was watching. Good. Let him watch. 3 days ago, my husband humiliated me in public. He called me worthless. He called me broke. He forced me to sign divorce papers in front of 300 people, then told me to leave through the service exit. What he didn't know was that I am Olivia Hart, daughter of James Hart, and that my family owns 42% of his company. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Since then, Mr. Caldwell has filed a lawsuit claiming I deceived him, that I trapped him, that my family orchestrated some elaborate conspiracy. None of that is true. Here are the facts." She pulled out a document. "I met Ethan Caldwell 4 years ago. I used my mother's maiden name, as I often do in personal situations, to protect my privacy. I disclosed my real identity to him before we married. He knew exactly who I was. He just didn't care until he thought it could benefit him." More murmurs. "Second fact. Hart Global invested in Caldwell Technologies at my recommendation. I believed in the company's potential. I believed in Ethan. That investment saved his company from bankruptcy. Without it, Caldwell Technologies would not exist." She pulled out another document. "Third fact. We have evidence that Mr. Caldwell has been embezzling funds through his mistress's consulting firm, evidence that he's been committing tax fraud, evidence that he's been falsifying company records. This evidence has been provided to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office." The room erupted. Questions flew. Cameras flashed. "I'm not here for revenge," Olivia continued, speaking over the noise. "I'm here because employees of Caldwell Technologies deserve to know their company is in good hands, because investors deserve transparency, because the truth matters." "Ms. Hart," a reporter shouted, "are you saying your husband is a criminal?" "I'm saying the evidence will speak for itself," Olivia replied, "and I'm saying that I will not be intimidated by frivolous lawsuits or smear campaigns. I know who I am. I know what I've done, and I know I have nothing to apologize for." "What about the allegations that you spied on him?" another reporter called out. "Mr. Caldwell is the one who placed surveillance devices in my home, my office, and my car," Olivia said calmly. "We discovered them yesterday. They've been turned over to law enforcement. Next question." The reporters looked stunned. "Ms. Hart, what's your message to women facing similar situations?" a female reporter asked. Olivia paused, took a breath. "My message is this. If someone treats you like you're worthless, believe their actions, not their words. If someone diminishes you, controls you, manipulates you, that's not love. That's abuse. And you deserve better. I thought I needed to be small to be loved. I was wrong. The right person will love you bigger, not smaller. Don't settle for anything less." The room fell silent. "Thank you all for coming," Olivia said. "We'll be releasing a full statement with supporting documentation within the hour." She stepped away from the podium. Her family closed ranks around her as they left. The questions continued, but she didn't look back. In the elevator, David grinned. "That was perfect." "Was it?" Olivia asked. She was shaking. "You were strong, clear, honest," James said. "You handled that like a pro." "I feel like I'm going to throw up," Olivia admitted. "That's normal," Thomas said. "But you did it, and now the world knows your side." The elevator doors opened. Olivia's assistant was waiting, her face pale. "What is it?" Olivia asked. "Detective Morrison is here," the assistant said. "She needs to speak with you immediately. She says it's urgent." Olivia's heart sank. "Send her to my office." Detective Morrison arrived with 2 other officers. Her expression was grim. "Ms. Hart, we need to talk about Ethan Caldwell," she said. "What about him?" Olivia asked. "He's disappeared," Detective Morrison said. "As of this morning, no one knows where he is. His apartment is empty, his phone is off, his lawyers haven't heard from him, and his passport is missing." The room spun. "You think he ran?" Olivia asked. "We think he's either running or planning something," Detective Morrison said. "Either way, we need to find him. Fast. Do you have any idea where he might go?" Olivia tried to think. Where would Ethan go? Where would he feel safe? "His mother," she said suddenly. "Margaret Chen. She lives in Connecticut. He might go there." "We already checked," Detective Morrison said. "She hasn't seen him. But Ms. Hart, there's something else. We found evidence that Mr. Caldwell withdrew $500,000 in cash from various accounts yesterday, before the banks closed, before we could freeze his assets." "Why would he need cash?" Olivia asked. "That's what we're trying to figure out," Detective Morrison said. "But Ms. Hart, I need you to take this seriously. A man who's facing criminal charges, who's just lost everything, who has $500,000 in cash and a missing passport, that's a dangerous combination. We're issuing a warrant for his arrest, and we're doubling your security detail." "You think he's going to hurt me?" Olivia said. "I think he's unpredictable," Detective Morrison said, "and I'm not taking chances with your safety." After the detective left, Olivia sat at her desk trying to process everything. Ethan was gone, in the wind, with cash and desperation and nothing left to lose. Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered, "Hello," heavy breathing on the other end. Then Ethan's voice barely recognizable. "You think you've won? You haven't. This isn't over, Olivia, not even close." "Ethan, where are you?" Olivia asked, gesturing frantically for her security team. "Somewhere you'll never find me," he said. "But don't worry, I'll find you. When you least expect it. When you think you're safe. I'll be there. And you're going to regret everything you've done to me." "Ethan, you need help," Olivia said, trying to keep him talking while security traced the call. "Please turn yourself in. We can get you treatment." He laughed. It sounded unhinged. "Treatment? I don't need treatment. I need justice, and I'm going to get it, one way or another." The line went dead. Captain Stevens burst in. "We got a location. He's at a payphone in Queens. Units are en route." But Olivia knew they wouldn't find him. Ethan was smarter than that. He'd already be gone. She looked at her father, at her brothers, at the security team surrounding her. "He's really going to try to hurt me, isn't he?" she asked. "We're not going to let that happen," James said firmly. But for the first time since this nightmare began, Olivia wasn't sure anyone could stop what was coming. Somewhere in the city, Ethan Caldwell was planning his revenge, and Olivia had no idea when or how he would strike. The next 72 hours were a nightmare of waiting. Police searched for Ethan. Media camped outside Hart Tower. Olivia's security team locked down every entrance, monitored every camera, tracked every threat. But Ethan stayed hidden. On Thursday morning, Olivia forced herself to go to Caldwell Technologies headquarters. She couldn't hide forever. The employees needed to see her, needed to know the company had leadership. The building felt alien. She'd visited a handful of times during her marriage, always as Ethan's quiet wife, never as herself. Now she walked through the lobby as their new CEO, and every eye followed her. The executive team was waiting in the conference room. 12 people who'd worked under Ethan, now staring at her with a mixture of fear and curiosity. "Thank you all for coming," Olivia said, taking the head of the table. The chairs still smelled like Ethan's cologne. She pushed the thought away. "I know this transition has been difficult. I know you're scared. I know you have questions." "Will we have jobs?" someone asked. A young woman, maybe 25, her voice shaking. "Yes," Olivia said firmly. "Unless you were involved in the fraud, your jobs are safe. In fact, we're hiring. We need to rebuild departments that were gutted by budget cuts. We need to restore programs that were eliminated. This company had potential before my ex-husband corrupted it. We're going to find that potential again." "What about the clients?" another voice asked, an older man, head of sales. "Half of them have called threatening to pull their contracts. They don't trust us anymore." "Then we earn their trust back," Olivia said. "We're implementing full financial transparency, independent audits, ethics training for every employee. We're going to be the most honest tech company in this city, and if clients don't want that kind of integrity, they can leave." She saw a few nods, a few skeptical looks, but at least they were listening. "I know I'm not who you expected," Olivia continued. "I know my ex-husband told you I was nobody, that I didn't understand business, that I was just decoration. He was wrong. I have an MBA from Wharton. I worked in venture capital for 5 years. I understand this industry, and I'm here to work, not to play CEO." A hand raised. The CFO, Gerald Hutchins. "What about the criminal investigation? When the indictments come down, how do we handle that?" "We cooperate fully," Olivia said. "We provide every document requested. We make every employee available for interviews. We show the world that the corruption was isolated to one person, not systemic." "And if that person was our CEO," Gerald pressed, "if the face of our company goes to prison, what then?" "Then we become known for how we responded," Olivia said, "for how we cleaned house, for how we refused to let one man's crimes define us. We become the company that chose integrity over protection. That's our only path forward." The meeting lasted 2 hours. By the end, the fear in the room had shifted slightly. Not to confidence, not yet, but to something like hope. As people filed out, Gerald stayed behind. "Ms. Hart, can I speak with you privately?" he asked. "Of course," Olivia said. Gerald closed the door. His hands were shaking. "I need to tell you something. About your ex-husband. About what he was planning before everything fell apart." Olivia's stomach clenched. "What kind of planning?" "He was going to leave you anyway," Gerald said quietly. "Even before the gala. He'd been talking to lawyers for weeks, planning the divorce, but he wanted to make sure he got everything. The apartment, the cars, everything in both your names. He was building a case that you were mentally unstable, that you'd become paranoid and irrational. That's why he installed the surveillance. He was gathering footage to use against you in court." The room tilted. "How do you know this?" "Because he asked me to falsify financial records to hide assets," Gerald said. "He wanted to move money offshore, make it look like you'd spent it, then claim you'd wasted marital funds. I refused. That's when he started threatening me." "Do you have proof?" Olivia asked. Gerald pulled out a flash drive. "Every conversation, every email, every document he asked me to forge. I've been keeping records since the beginning. I was too scared to come forward while he had power. But now I need to make this right." Olivia took the drive. "Thank you. This could change everything." "There's more," Gerald said, his voice dropping. "The day before the gala, Ethan met with someone. I don't know who. But after that meeting, he changed, got manic, started talking about how he was going to destroy you publicly, how he was going to make sure everyone saw you for what you really were. Ms. Hart, I think someone put him up to the public humiliation, someone who wanted your family exposed." "Who?" Olivia demanded. "I don't know," Gerald said. "But whoever it was, they're still out there. And if Ethan's disappeared, he might be with them." After Gerald left, Olivia called Detective Morrison immediately. "We need to meet," Olivia said. "I have new evidence and a possible lead on where Ethan might be." An hour later, she was at the precinct, handing over the flash drive. Detective Morrison's face grew darker as she reviewed the files. "This is damning," she said. "This shows premeditation, conspiracy. This isn't just fraud anymore. This is something bigger." "Gerald said Ethan met with someone the day before the gala," Olivia explained. "Someone who might have orchestrated the public confrontation. Can you trace his movements?" "We're already on it," Detective Morrison said. "But Ms. Hart, if there's someone else involved, someone with resources and motive to hurt your family, you might be in more danger than we thought." "Why would anyone want to hurt my family?" Olivia asked. "Your father is one of the richest men in America," Detective Morrison said. "He's made enemies, business rivals, people who've lost money when Hart Global won. We need to look at this from a different angle. What if Ethan wasn't the mastermind? What if he was just a weapon someone else aimed at you?" The thought made Olivia's blood run cold. Her phone rang. Unknown number again. She almost didn't answer, but Detective Morrison nodded. "Put it on speaker," the detective said, already signaling for a trace. Olivia answered, "Hello?" But it wasn't Ethan's voice this time. It was a woman's, smooth, cultured, familiar somehow. "Ms. Hart, my name is Victoria Ashford. I'm calling because I have information about your ex-husband. Information I think you'll want to hear." "Who are you?" Olivia asked. "Someone who's been watching your family for a very long time," Victoria said. "Someone who knows exactly why Ethan Caldwell destroyed you in public, and someone who can help you find him if you're willing to listen." "I'm listening," Olivia said, her heart racing. "Not on the phone," Victoria said. "Meet me tonight, 8 p.m. The restaurant at the top of the Carlisle Hotel. Come alone, or I disappear and take everything I know with me." "I'm not meeting a stranger alone," Olivia said. "Then Ethan wins," Victoria said simply. "Your choice, Ms. Hart, but I promise you what I know will change everything you think you understand about your marriage, about your family, about who you really are." The line went dead. Detective Morrison cursed. "We got a location. The call came from inside Hart Tower, from your father's floor." Olivia's blood turned to ice. "That's impossible. Security would have logged any visitor." "Unless the visitor had clearance," Detective Morrison said grimly. "Ms. Hart, I need you to be very careful. Don't go to that meeting. This could be a trap." But Olivia was already thinking about Victoria's words. "What I know will change everything you think you understand about your family." "I have to go," Olivia said. No, Detective Morrison said flatly. Absolutely not. She knows something, Olivia insisted. Something important, and if she called from inside Hart Tower, that means she has access. That means she's connected. I need to know who she is and what she wants. Then we wire you up and surround the place with undercover officers, Detective Morrison said. She said, come alone, Olivia countered. And you trust her, Detective Morrison demanded. I don't trust anyone anymore, Olivia said, but I need answers, and she's offering them. That evening, Olivia dressed carefully, a simple black dress, her mother's pearls, her phone in her purse with 911 on speed dial. Security insisted on at least being in the building, if not the room. Olivia agreed. The Carlisle Hotel was elegant, understated old money. The restaurant at the top offered views of Central Park and the Manhattan skyline. Olivia arrived exactly at 8. A woman sat alone at a corner table. She was striking, maybe 50, with silver hair and the kind of beauty that came from bone structure and confidence. She wore a burgundy suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. Ms. Hart, the woman said, standing. Thank you for coming. I'm Victoria Ashford. Who are you? Olivia asked, not sitting. Please sit. Victoria gestured. What I have to tell you will take time. Reluctantly, Olivia sat. Start talking. Victoria smiled. Direct. I like that. Your mother was the same way. Olivia's breath caught. You knew my mother. I knew of her, Victoria corrected. Catherine Hart was legendary in certain circles. Brilliant, fearless, and very, very dangerous to people who underestimated her. What does my mother have to do with Ethan? Olivia demanded. Everything, Victoria said. You see, your mother made enemies before she died, powerful enemies, people who lost fortunes when Hart Global expanded, people who blamed her for their failures, and when she died, they couldn't touch her anymore. So they waited, they watched, and when you got married to a nobody tech CEO, they saw an opportunity. An opportunity for what? Olivia asked, her voice shaking. To destroy James Hart the only way that would truly hurt him, Victoria said, through his daughter, through you. The room spun. You're saying Ethan was planted. Not planted, Victoria corrected. Cultivated. Someone found a desperate, ambitious man with a failing company. Someone who'd do anything to succeed. And they gave him everything. The investment, the connections, the success. All of it came from one source. A source that made sure he met you. Made sure you fell for him. Made sure you married him. That's insane, Olivia whispered. Is it? Victoria asked. Think about it. How did you meet Ethan? Really meet him? Olivia's mind raced back. The coffee shop near Columbia. She'd been reading a book on international finance. He'd approached her, charmed by her intelligence. The book, Olivia said slowly. He commented on the book I was reading. Said he'd just read it too, that we should discuss it over coffee. And what were the chances, Victoria said softly, that a tech CEO would be reading a dense academic text on international monetary policy? What were the chances he'd be at that exact coffee shop at that exact time? You're saying it was staged, Olivia said. I'm saying someone made sure your paths crossed, Victoria said. Someone who knew your habits, your schedule, your preferences, someone who'd been watching you for months before that meeting. Who? Olivia demanded. Who would do this? Victoria leaned forward. Have you ever heard of the Beaumont Group? The name meant nothing to Olivia. She shook her head. They're a private investment consortium, Victoria explained. Very exclusive, very powerful. They control billions in dark money, and they've been trying to take down Hart Global for 20 years. Your mother stopped them from acquiring 3 major companies they wanted, cost them somewhere around $8 billion. They've waited a long time for revenge. And Ethan works for them, Olivia said, the pieces falling into place. Worked, Victoria corrected. Past tense, because Ethan made a critical mistake. He fell in love with you, really loved you. And that wasn't part of the plan. The plan was to marry you, gain access to Hart Global's inner working steel trade secrets, then destroy you and your family publicly. Maximum damage, maximum humiliation. But he didn't steal secrets, Olivia said. I never told him anything about the business. Because you were smarter than they anticipated, Victoria said. You kept your world separate. So they had to pivot. They pushed him to divorce you publicly, to humiliate you, to damage your father's reputation by association. But even that went wrong because you fought back, and now Ethan's become a liability. So they'll kill him, Olivia said, the realization hitting like a punch. They already tried, Victoria said. 2 days ago. Ethan barely escaped. That's why he's in hiding. Not from the police. From them. How do you know all this? Olivia asked. Victoria's smile was sad. Because I used to work for them. I was their inside person at several major corporations. I helped orchestrate hostile takeovers, destroyed reputations, ruined lives. And then they turned on me when I became inconvenient. I barely survived. I've been gathering evidence against them ever since. Why tell me? Olivia asked. Why now? Because you're the key, Victoria said. You're the one person who can bring them down. Ethan has evidence, documents, recordings, proof of everything they've done. But he won't trust the police. He won't trust the FBI. He'll only trust one person. Me, Olivia said. You, Victoria confirmed. You're the only one he ever really loved. If you can find him, if you can convince him to turn over the evidence, we can destroy the Beaumont group. We can end this. Where is he? Olivia asked. Victoria slid a piece of paper across the table, an address in Brooklyn. He's there, for now, but he won't stay long. You have maybe 6 hours before he runs again. Olivia stared at the address. Every instinct screamed this was a trap. But if Victoria was telling the truth, if there really was a larger conspiracy, then Ethan was a victim too, a pawn in someone else's game. Why should I believe you? Olivia asked. Victoria pulled out a phone and showed her a photo. Ethan bruised and bloody, hiding in what looked like an abandoned building. The timestamp was from this morning. Because he's running out of time, Victoria said. And so are you. The Beaumont group knows you're getting close to the truth. They'll come for you next. The only way to protect yourself is to expose them first. Olivia stood. I need to make a call. No calls, Victoria said sharply. No police, no security. If they see cops coming, they'll kill Ethan and disappear. You have to go alone. I'm not stupid, Olivia said. I'm not asking you to be stupid, Victoria said. I'm asking you to be brave, like your mother. She would have walked into hell itself to protect the people she loved. Can you do the same? Olivia thought about her mother, about the stories her father told, about the woman who'd built an empire while raising a daughter, about the legacy Olivia had been trying to live up to her entire life. I'll go, Olivia said. But if this is a trap, if anything happens to me, my family will burn your world to the ground. If this is a trap, Victoria said, we're all already dead. Olivia left the restaurant and immediately called Detective Morrison. Don't go, the detective said when Olivia explained. This is textbook bait. They want you isolated. I have to try, Olivia said. If there's even a chance Ethan has evidence against these people, I need to get it. Then take backup, Detective Morrison pleaded. I will, Olivia said, but at a distance. I need Ethan to trust me, and he won't if he sees police. Against every protocol, Detective Morrison agreed to surveillance only. No intervention unless Olivia signaled distress. The address led to a warehouse in Red Hook, abandoned, dark, exactly the kind of place horror movies warned you about. Olivia's phone rang as she approached. Her father. Where are you? James demanded. I can't tell you, Olivia said. Olivia, your security team says you gave them the slip. What's going on? I'm ending this, Olivia said. Dad, I need you to trust me. Whatever happens tonight, know that I love you, that I'm grateful for everything, and that I'm finally strong enough to fight my own battles. Olivia, don't you dare! She hung up. The warehouse door was unlocked. Inside, shadows and dust and the smell of decay. Olivia's footsteps echoed. Ethan, she called out. It's me! I'm alone! I just want to talk! Movement in the darkness. Then a voice broken and desperate. Livy. He stepped into a shaft of moonlight. He looked terrible, unshaven, gaunt. The bruises Victoria had shown her covered half his face. My God, Ethan, Olivia breathed. You shouldn't have come, he said, but there were tears in his eyes. They're watching. They're always watching. Who? Olivia asked. The Beaumont Group. His face went white. How do you know that name? I know everything, Olivia said. I know they used you. I know they threatened you. I know you were trying to protect me by pushing me away. No, Ethan said, shaking his head. No, you don't understand. I wasn't protecting you. I was destroying you. That was the plan. That's what they paid me to do. But you didn't go through with it, Olivia said, stepping closer. You could have stolen Hart Global's secrets. You had access for 3 years, but you didn't. Because I fell in love with you, Ethan said, his voice breaking. I wasn't supposed to. You were just supposed to be a job, but you were so brilliant and kind and real, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't betray you, so they threatened to expose everything. Said they'd kill you if I didn't divorce you publicly. Make it so humiliating you'd never recover. So you did, Olivia said. So I did, Ethan confirmed, and it destroyed me. Livy, I'm so sorry. For everything, for the lies, for the cruelty, for wasting 3 years of your life. Do you have the evidence? Olivia asked. The proof against them. Ethan nodded, pulled out a flash drive. Everything. Names, bank accounts, money trails, proof of dozens of corporate conspiracies. This will bring down some of the most powerful people in the world. He held it out to her. Olivia reached for it, and the lights blazed on. A dozen men in suits surrounded them, guns drawn, and at the center, a man in his 60s with cold eyes and a colder smile. How touching, he said. The reconciliation. Too bad neither of you will live to enjoy it. Who are you? Olivia demanded. Malcolm Beaumont, he said. And you've both become very inconvenient. Ethan stepped in front of Olivia. Run! How heroic, Malcolm said. But pointless. Ms. Hart, did you really think we'd let you walk out of here? Did you think Victoria Ashford was trying to help you? She works for me. She always has. This was all a trap to get you here, to get the evidence back, to tie up all our loose ends in one night. The police know where I am, Olivia said, her voice steady despite her terror. No, they don't, Malcolm said. We've been jamming signals for 3 blocks. No phones, no GPS, no backup. It's just us. Ethan grabbed Olivia's hand. I'm sorry, he whispered, for all of it. Then he threw the flash drive as hard as he could into the darkness. Chaos erupted. Men scrambled after it. Malcolm shouted orders, and Ethan pulled Olivia toward a side door she hadn't seen. They ran through corridors, through rooms piled with debris, Ethan leading like he'd mapped every inch. Behind them, footsteps thundered. Shots fired bullets ricocheting off metal. There! Ethan gasped, pointing to a loading dock door. My car, the blue sedan, keys under the mat. Drive to the 76th precinct. Don't stop for anything. What about you? Olivia demanded. I'll hold them off, Ethan said. Give you time. Livy, please, let me do this one thing right. No, Olivia said. We go together or not at all. More gunshots. Closer now. Ethan kissed her, hard and desperate and full of everything he'd never said. I love you. I always have. Now go. He shoved her through the door and slammed it behind her. Olivia heard him barricading it, heard him shouting at their pursuers, heard the gunfire intensify. She ran to the car, found the keys, started the engine. The door Ethan had barricaded exploded inward. Olivia floored it. Tires screaming just as men poured through. In her rearview mirror, she saw Ethan fighting, saw him go down, saw Malcolm standing over him. And then she turned a corner and couldn't see anything anymore. She drove like a demon possessed, sobbing, shaking, barely able to see through her tears. The signal jammer's range ended 3 blocks later. Her phone exploded with notifications. She called 911. Officer down, she screamed, though Ethan wasn't an officer. Shots fired. Warehouse in Red Hook. Send everyone. She gave the address, kept driving, made it to the precinct. Detective Morrison met her at the door. We lost your signal. We sent units, but they have Ethan, Olivia gasped. They have him, and I left him, and they're going to kill him. We've got units en route, Detective Morrison said. SWAT is mobilizing. We'll get him back. But 20 minutes later, when the teams breached the warehouse, it was empty. No bodies, no blood, no evidence, no Ethan. Just a note written in his handwriting left on a crate in the middle of the floor. I'm sorry. I love you. Don't come looking for me. Live your life. Be happy. That's all I ever wanted for you." Olivia collapsed. The next week was a blur. Police investigations, FBI involvement, media frenzy. The flash drive Ethan had thrown was never found. Malcolm Beaumont denied everything. Victoria Ashford disappeared, and Ethan Caldwell became a ghost. The criminal charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. The civil lawsuit was dismissed. Caldwell Technologies was officially absorbed into Hart Global. Olivia returned to work, threw herself into rebuilding, into creating the kind of company her mother would have been proud of. She saw Dr. Chen twice a week. Slowly, painfully, she began to heal. 3 months later, on a rainy Tuesday, a package arrived at her office. No return address, just her name. Inside was a flash drive and a note. "Use this. Finish what I started. The evidence is all here. Take them down. And Livy, thank you for loving me when I didn't deserve it. Thank you for showing me who I could have been. I'm sorry I'll never get the chance to be that man. But you're going to change the world. I know it. Always E." Olivia plugged in the drive with shaking hands. It was all there. Everything Ethan had promised. Names, accounts, proof of decades of corruption. She called Detective Morrison. She called the FBI. She called her father. And 6 months later, Malcolm Beaumont and 17 members of the Beaumont Group were arrested in a coordinated international operation. The trial lasted 8 months. Olivia testified. So did Gerald. So did dozens of others Ethan had secretly recorded over the years. Every single defendant was convicted. Ethan was never found. Some said he'd fled the country. Some said Beaumont had killed him after all. Some said he'd entered witness protection under a new name. Olivia didn't know what to believe. But on the 1-year anniversary of the gala, she received a postcard. No message. Just a photograph of a beach somewhere tropical. On the back, a single word in handwriting she'd recognize anywhere. Free. She kept it in her desk drawer, a reminder of the man who'd betrayed her, destroyed her, and ultimately saved her. Hart Global flourished under her leadership. She became known not as James Hart's daughter, but as Olivia Hart, the CEO, who'd taken down one of the most corrupt organizations in modern business history. She never married again, never even dated. Some wounds went too deep, but she lived, boldly, powerfully, exactly as her mother had. And every time someone underestimated her, every time someone assumed she was weak or broken or diminished, she remembered the night she'd walked out of that gala with her head high. She remembered who she was. She remembered her power. And she never, ever let anyone make her feel small again. Because the people you underestimate are often the ones holding the power to change everything. And Olivia Hart had just proven that truth to the entire world.